Ready? All right. Welcome, calling meeting to order, regular board meeting, November 21st at 4:30 PM. Roll call. Rick,
Here.
Angelo,
Present.
Dr. Turkey,
Present.
and myself, Adriana, and I believe Marta is joining us via Zoom. Is that correct?
That is correct.
All right. I'll open it to public comment on closed sessions. Do we have any in public? Okay, Zoom. All right, going into closed session at 4:31 PM. All right, I think we're ready. All right, we are going to reconvene to open session. Let's do flag salute.
The flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. That's all.
All right, there's no actions to report from closed session. We're gonna adopt the agenda. Do I have a motion for adopting the agenda?
A motion to adopt.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Let's. Oh, yes. Is it?
Thank you. I
I don't hear myself either, like.
I think it's a little
I'm
low.
hoping.
Thank you.
It seems that today I don't hear myself, so bear with me. So I can go up and down. All right, next up in the agenda is public comment on non-agenda items. And we have one public comment on non-agenda items. A reminder, each comment is 3 minutes and there's gonna be a timer for 3 minutes. We cannot respond, but you're more than open to come and talk about anything on public comment. And we have someone, Lorena?
I don't know. Do I?
No, that's fine.
Can you hear me?
Yes,
Yeah.
I know.
Okay. Good evening. My name is Lorena de Leon. I'm here today to address a matter that I have been trying to resolve for the past 3 weeks regarding a teacher at North Monterey County High School. This teacher has been sharing her personal beliefs in the classroom, which my daughter has expressed as having a negative impact on her. I have reached out to Mr. Turkey, Mr. Garcia, and Mrs. Martinez, but after 3 weeks, no effort has been made to investigate the issue. I am deeply concerned that this matter is not being taken seriously. To date, no one from the district has reached out to my daughter to gather information or take the first steps towards investigating and addressing the concern. California Education Code emphasizes the importance of maintaining professional boundaries between educators and students. Specifically, it is clear that students must avoid using their position of authority to share or impose personal beliefs, as this can undermine the neutrality and inclusiveness of learning environment. These guidelines exist to ensure students feel safe, supported, and free from undue influence in the classroom. All I'm asking is for the school district to investigate and issue thoroughly and take appropriate action based on the facts gathered. The lack of response sends the wrong message to students, suggesting that speaking up about their concerns will result in no action. This is not acceptable, and I urge the district to address this matter in accordance with the state law and district policies. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other public comment? All right, opening for Zoom. All right, we're closing public comments. We're moving to our next agenda item, presentations and recognitions, and we're starting with Elkhorn Elementary.
And community members. My name is Lorene Harvey, and I am the principal of Elkhorn Elementary, home of the Ocelots. I am very excited to share with you some of the amazing and wonderful things that are happening at our school tonight. I am presenting with my assistant principal, Oscar Valdez. Next slide, please. As a clouder of ocelots, we are very diverse and very unique in relation to some of our other elementary schools. As you can see, one of our main differences is the number of amazing special day classes that we have as part of our campus. With this program as part of our campus comes a lot of staff, as you can see reflected in our numbers that are listed there. Our special programs, however, bring so much joy to our campus, and have helped to show inclusivity in a way that is very natural and beautiful through mainstreaming, both during academic times and non-academic times. All of our students benefit in the long run and learn from each other, and we're so proud to have a unique and diverse campus. Next slide, please. All right, on the next few slides, you'll see a lot of information about our school and our connection to the 4 main LCAP goals. Both Mr. Valdez and myself will be highlighting various elements of the goals and will not be speaking to each point individually. However, if you have questions about any of the points on any slides, we will welcome those at the end of our presentation. Around goal 1, rigorous and equitable instruction, I would like to share how we are supporting foundational skill work on our campus in both math and language arts throughout our school. This year, our 3rd through 6th grade team decided to incorporate math fluency into everything we're doing. One of the key skills that they chose to highlight was multiplication. As a team, they decided to implement multiplication Mondays, where they will devote a specific time within their math instruction to focusing on the key foundational skills around multiplication. Not only will they practice basic facts, they will also learn strategies to better understand the connection between multiplication and other math skills, such as fractions, decimals, and problem solving. It's not just about how fast we multiply. Some next steps in this area include utilizing the interim CASP assessment modules to apply those skills and know how to approach problem solving in a strategic way. Our primary grades are focusing on adopting and implementing a foundational language arts skills assessment that has meaning for them and their students, while targeting specific foundational reading skills to build fluency and ease of reading by grade 3. As a school, they have chosen to utilize the core phonics assessment, which will help provide them with vital information to target their small group instruction and whole group instruction for their students. Throughout this diagnostic assessment, they've been able to identify areas of strength and areas of need to target those instructional groups. The diagnostic assessment will be given 3 times a year, and the data will then support the development of their phonemic awareness and phonics skills to build those fluent readers across our campus. As a school, we will be adopting a specific 3 reads protocol that focuses on close reading and academic discourse, and will be explicitly taught to students on what to do with text that they come across in all subject areas. We look forward to seeing how this connects with reading in general. We all know we read in math, we read in language arts, but we also read in everything else that we do. So we look forward to seeing what happens when teachers implement a strategy together as a whole school and the overall instructional impact that it will have on our students. Now I'm going to turn it over for the next slide to Mr. Valdez.
Thank you, Mrs. Harvey. Good evening, Superintendent Turkey, board members, and community. I will be focusing on the student engagement connectedness piece. A couple highlights that we have is one that we have adopted the last couple years that is going well is the Roarbucks and Rory's House, which is a school-wide opportunity for students to receive reward points, if you will. And in fact, I have a couple here that I just carry around my back pocket for students who go above and beyond the expectations, helping another student or just doing something out of their way. They get rewarded. And so every other Friday, every 2 weeks, there's an image there with Rory's House, and they get to redeem their points for awards and even experiences. We have movie tickets that they can earn, that they can watch a movie during their lunch recess, and experiences of that nature. Yeah. A really sweet story is our students are so invested. We have a 5th grader and 6th grader who decided and asked, can we do a commercial for Rory's House? And so they took it upon themselves to write the script, have the commercial played out. And so we look forward to promoting that for the rest of the year and for our students that are learning about Rory's House next year. And we'll be using that ongoing commercial. Another great experience that we just had yesterday was the monthly assemblies where we honor our character builders of the month. And these assemblies have been going from a lot of adult staff support to student led. Our students are planning the assemblies. They're voting on what type of activities they would like to see there. They're organizing it, and they're presenting during a lot of the activities. For example, last year or yesterday, we had a cornhole challenge. So the students organized that, put together the teams, and a lot of it is spirit led, right? They chose the Jersey Day. So at the end of the assembly, students go around and count how many students wore jerseys. In that class with the highest percentage, they get the Ocelot trophy, we call it. It's a little Ocelot stuffed bear. Yeah. And so for next steps, we look forward to continuing to work with student council students with our student clubs. These are student-led interest, and we have teacher advisors who are partnering with the students. And a lot of these options are gardening. They've showed interest in cooking, arts and crafts. They've have interest in campus beautification, where they just want to be part of the campus, upkeep the campus, make sure it's clean and presentable. So seeing that sense of ownership there, right? And those leadership qualities. As you can imagine, esports is a very popular one. And so we're having those opportunities offered to the students. The image you see on the screen was from the previous assembly in October. That was the where they had the mummy wrap, if you will, and there's an image there of the students engaging. Next slide, please. And the next slide is LCAP goal number 3, which is our parent community engagement connectedness. And here it's a really true honor to have the opportunity to welcome our families onto our campus. Some of our opportunities we have is movie night or back to school night. Something that we've been doing differently and been enhancing this year is having agencies and local services at our back to school night events, partnering with our community coordinator. And so our families are visiting our campus, but then also inquiring about information that may be supported for their family and plugging into the community. Yeah, those different services that are offered there. During our movie night, for example, we also partner with our local vendors, and our parent teacher group has that partnership, and students get to watch movie outside under the stars in this huge blow up screen. Parents come with the family. It's really something special and powerful to be able to offer that opportunity at their school, their site, to see that family come together and enjoy an event. Another highlight we would like to share that is going well is the increase in number of parent participation in general across the board. Our ELAC parent involvement group, the first group we had over 60 families show up. Our last one, we had over 40 families show up. Needless to say, we've had more childcare staff support, which is wonderful, right? And a lot of these topics that we present in these meetings are parent-driven interest topics. So then we prepare, whether it be the presentation or bring other speakers to those meetings to make sure that we're providing the information that they're requesting. Yeah. In regards to next steps for our parent community and engagement, we look forward to hosting our annual family game night. We started this game night last year, and in the spring, we set out games in the quad area and in the cafeteria. There's different math games that it was super neat to watch the families get involved and parents get competitive and invested in the games that sometimes students are cheering on for one or the other parent. So it's super neat to see that they're all learning together during that night, and it's math and it's fun, right? So a different experience there. We also are excited and look forward to our positive discipline series with our families, where we will be sharing and empowering our parents with topics like how to establish routines. It even covers nutrition guidelines and recommendations, or what is the difference between punishment and discipline, right? So it's the first time we're offering a positive discipline series at Elkhorn, so we look forward to that. Thank you.
Right, now I get to continue talking about our amazing staff. Our Elkhorn staff is wonderful. I've been at Elkhorn for many, many years and can say that it's truly a family. We our staff has been together for a really long time. We work really well with each other and staff is happy. Our community schools coordinator was new to our team this year and she conducted a needs assessment for our staff and did one-on-one interviews. And one of the things that came out of that assessment, not only were we able to identify some of those, excuse me, some of those key components that we might want to bring back to Elkhorn or look at having return, but we also were able to find that our staff is sharing that they're happy, that they like being at Elkhorn and they enjoy working there. They feel connected to their teammates and then within the school. One of the things that we have implemented is our staff VIP parking. So if you've ever been to Elkhorn, you know that parking is a hot commodity there. And so we thought, what better way to, reward or entice our teachers and staff than to offer a VIP parking spot. So we have 2 VIP parking spots on campus. They every month our staff votes for which certificated staff member and which classified staff member they feel deserves those parking spots, and they need to provide a reason why. And when we do that, the reasons that come out are they were a great teammate. They shared with me. I got to talk to them about a particular student and they helped give me ideas, just lots of different reasons. And what we do is when we announce our student council students during morning announcements will announce the winner for the month and they share those reasons. And I hear teachers in the hallway congratulating each other and different staff members going, oh, good job. I voted for you this month. And so it's been really a fun little way to just kind of give little kudos to our staff. We like to do that as well in our staff bulletins that come out weekly. Some of the things that I would really like to move forward with within our school is including our staff in presenting to each other. So really about that professional development piece and being able to connect with one another through their best practices. That is something that is important to both Mr. Valdez and myself. Our teachers have wonderful ideas. Why not share them with each other? We have started holding some of our meetings this year instead of in isolated grade level teams. We are having our teachers work in vertical teams. So they're working with, 2 grade levels, our 4th, 5th, and 6th grade team, which you can see in the middle there, who all dressed up as Inside Out too for Halloween. Our 4th, 5th, and 6th grade team meet together. And what they do is when they're planning and discussing different instructional practices, they're able to kind of, as vertical teams, really talk about what's coming up for the grade level in front of them. And then we're going to also be mixing up with the grade level below so that we can kind of have that mutual discussion and conversation so we can help prepare our students for wherever they're going. Our 4th, 5th, and 6th grade team this year, actually, a good example of that is when they were planning for our English language development time to help support our English learners, is they took all of the students in 4th, 5th, and 6th grade, and they looked at what skills students were struggling on the LPAC in. And they leveled their students. And as a full team, because they had 7 teachers, we have some combination classes up there. So kind of posed a little issue in the beginning, but is now supportive of this. There were 7 teachers, so they were truly able to individually differentiate for each level of the LPAC and English learners to ensure that they were getting exactly what they needed to be successful this year. So they are loving working together and it's been great. All of our other grade level teams also level for ELD, which is nice. And they collaborate on who's doing what and when they're doing it. And it's been great. So next slide. With that, I'd like to give a special shout out. I know other schools also gave shout outs to their tier 1 team, but honestly, Mr. Valdez and I could not do the work we do without the support of our tier 1 team. I want to really thank them for being so open and honest. We have been able to have some really transparent conversations about what's working and what's not, and what are we going to do about it. And without their willingness to be transparent and open, we wouldn't be able to move things forward. And I'd like to just give a huge shout out to them. They support each other, but they tell us when, hey, this is too much, or this is just right, or maybe we need to push a little bit more. And I know that I rely on them for the temperature gauge of our team. So Miss Quayler's on our team. She's here tonight. But I really do appreciate the open and honest conversations that we have about students and their instruction. They all have that strong desire. Students are at the forefront of every decision that they're making. And so we really appreciate that. And next slide. I'd also like to lastly thank our preschool special day class paraprofessionals. One of them is not in that picture, but our preschoolers are our littlest guys on campus, and our special day class preschoolers are sometimes even smaller. And these amazing, there's 4 ladies, and they work so hard and support all of our students on campus. Just because they work in preschool doesn't mean that the students at our school are theirs. They have, this connection and ownership over all of the students. A lot of their work goes unnoticed in preschool. A lot of times we don't see or know what they do, but they are allowing students to be connected to their learning. They're allowing students and supporting students in communication. One of the things that, preschoolers communicate all differently, especially those with different needs. And their willingness to find the right mode of communication to help them learn has been just such an impact. And I appreciate them so much. They help us every morning with getting kids safely to where they need to be. And I just wanted to give them a shout out. So, and that's Elkhorn School. So if you guys have any questions for us.
Thank you. Thank you. I'll first start with public. Any comments or questions?
Sure. Yes, I definitely like to commend Ms. Harvey, Mr. Valdez on the great work they do. It's really nice to see their smiling faces first thing in the morning on the drop off. And I just would like to reiterate what I mentioned before, the significance of what they've implemented with respect to multiplication fact fluency. I would say fact fluency is to math as phonics is to reading. And I think that really the education community as a whole has sort of forgotten how important it is for students to get fluent with these facts, and how math is heavily hierarchical. And that's really the first rung of this ladder that students need to climb. And really getting a focus on students getting fluent with their facts, meaning, as I said, the standards say know from memory in grade 2 and grade 3, getting a focus on that, I think would really help where this district goes with math. So I would like to commend Ms. Harvey for recognizing this and getting this as a focal plan. Thank you.
Thank you.
My name's Cassandra, and I'm a community member and a teacher at Elkhorn. And I just want to say, Elkhorn is the best. I started there in kindergarten in '89, and it was my dream to come back and work at my elementary school. And that is where I started working with Lorene, Mrs. Harvey, 17 years ago. So I can attest that this is an absolutely wonderful school. And a lot of my nephews and family members go there.
Thank you. All right, I'll put in there for Zoom. Okay, closing public comment, and then we're gonna start with Juliet.
So when your goals to increase your college and career and parent involvement, just an idea that popped into my head. I remember when I was in kindergarten and we had my friend's dad, he was a firefighter, and he brought like his whole fire truck, and like he came and like we learned about like what he did on the day-to-day basis to like, so I think to combat, at least like an idea to combat both like parent involvement and have more college and career activities, maybe inviting parents to talk about their journey to where their occupation is right now. And, like careers that like how Elkhorn, not Elkhorn, Echo had the DJ, and like just careers that aren't so talked about. But I really like the presentation is great.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Appreciate
Julia.
that. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. Rick?
Thank you for that. It was awesome. I mean, every time I go over there, it's great to see the different aspects because I'm not there every day. Each time is a different tour, and this last one was really great. We went to the special education classrooms and just went and saw the teachers and the great job that they do with them, and talk to them and just see how they learn, and then everyone was happy. That there wasn't a kid that wasn't happy, whether if they were smiling or not, they're still happy. And then it's good at that age because they still, like when they're like maybe fourth down, they still want to learn. They're still eager, like want to be like, yes, I see that in my kids, and then even when you get to middle, it's kind of different. But no, you guys have been doing a great job learning, and Mr. Valdez, thank you for everything. I know everyone that holds it to their heart, like Cassandra and some family members of mine. So thank you. That was a great presentation. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rick. Angela?
I was there with Rick. We went last time to see your special day class. It was really outstanding to see. One thing that just popped on by looking at your slide, it really made me excited to see that your teachers were dressing up in Halloween again. It's little things like that builds great quality memories in our students. And I know for a fact in the past that did not happen at Elkhorn. So I'm glad you guys brought that back to just bring that little connection between our teachers and our students. And then now just to build on it, just for my own curiosity, and you probably can't answer for other schools, do we still do the Halloween parades at schools now? Or is that a thing of the past?
I think it just depends. I know at our school, we do a school-wide trick-or-treating event.
Awesome.
So
So
it's
next time we're gonna
a
do the little
type of
parade then.
parade, but they go to different locations around campus and get a little prize and
So-
get to walk
I'll
it.
say-
This year we invited parents, so it was really fun.
So
We had
I'll
a
say,
great
I look
time.
forward to next year's little Halloween parade at Elkhorn, so the board can just stop by. and
Sounds
visit.
good. Sounds good. You'll be definitely invited.
And the parents dressed up, so feel free to come dressed
Yeah,
up.
we
as
had
well.
parents dressed up too. It was wonderful.
I'd love to do that,
Yeah.
honestly.
Yeah. And we actually surveyed our staff because as you mentioned, it has not been a practice at Elkhorn for a while. So a couple of years ago, we started a survey with our staff to see if we wanted to bring Halloween back is what we
Well,
said.
I
So
appreciate you did that, because like I said, it's those little memories that builds,
Yeah.
raises morale and creates that connective culture between students and their schools. So I just love to see how Elkhorn is moving in such a positive direction. So thank you for your hard work.
thank you.
All right, can we coordinate our customs?
Yeah.
Okay, great.
We'll let you know.
All right.
I have
We did a whole
costumes
Pixar
and
theme as a
cosplay.
staff.
I'm
It was
ready.
great.
No, but I echo everything. Like, thank you. My babies they're no longer babies, but my babies went to Elkhorn, kinder through sixth grade, and it's a really good space to be. I think one of the things that I want to commend is you'll hold a lot of our special education students and create a very inclusive environment that not only the actual students want to come and feel welcome, but the other students are understanding the diverse community that we have, including those who are learning different than them. And so I think that that's something that Elkhorn is doing a great job since from the pre-K and preschool to all of our grades. So I think, thank you for that. That's for me, that's really powerful. And also like, thank you for giving the students the opportunity to be creative. It always impresses me how creative and innovative our students can be when we give them the space and the environment to do it. So thank you for doing that and allowing them to do their own commercial and write their script.
We'll bring
and
you
all
the
that
commercial.
stuff.
It'll be great.
I think that that's just amazing that you're allowing them to become, to get their creativity into practice. And so thank you for doing that. And I really want to also say, like, the transparency with the staff and allowing them to bring ideas and be honest with each other. I think transparency is our way now, and we're moving to all of us become transparent, because that's the only way that we're going to move forward and make sure that we're doing our best for everyone and for all community in our district. So thank you for that.
And if I can add something as well, I had the pleasure to work with your tier 1 team, yourself and your tier 1 team, just what, a week ago, 2 weeks ago, something like that. And what a fantastic group of educators. Okay. Really a high level of discourse and kind of like the building on one another's ideas, going deep, that sort of thing, being transparent and being honest with one another was truly impressive. Okay. And I don't think that your team gets there without good leadership. Okay. So thank you to the two of you for leading your tier 1 team, and hats off to your tier 1 team. They're a group of very high achieving individuals, you can tell. So thank you.
Thank you. All right, next presentation, mental health and wellness.
Thank you so much.
Hi, everybody. Can you all hear me? Do I have to hold it? Is this okay? Hear me? Okay. Good evening, everybody. Thank you all. I appreciate you all being here today and taking the time to listen to us and hopefully develop a couple next steps together. So my name is Lily Perez Ordaz, and I'm a school psychologist for educational options and here at North Monterey County High School.
My name's Teresa Balon. I'm the school psychology intern this year here at the high school.
And we can go ahead and go to the next slide. Thank you. We had students take the district-wide tool, which is called the DESA for its acronym, and it's a tool that measures student social emotional competence. This here at the secondary level, students take a self-rating assessment. So it takes about 8 to 10 minutes, and it has a series of questions measuring some of the areas that you're seeing right there on the right side. So it measures self-awareness, self-management, goal-directed behavior, and a couple other ones. It's a total of 8 areas and in which students are rating themselves. Here at the secondary level, it's a little different in elementary where teachers do the ratings. And we had about 80% completion rate here at the high school. So we had about over 900 students who completed the DESA. And overall, there was the graph that you're seeing on the left side demonstrates that 3% felt like they had a strength overall competencies with social emotional areas on the right side. 46% of them felt like they had typical social emotional competence overall, and about 51% felt that they have an area of need in terms of their social emotional well-being overall. If we go ahead and go to the next slide. So even though we do see about 51% of the students needing overall social emotional competence, we also notice a counter strength that we like to call, and that's relationship skills. So about 10% of the students felt like this is an area of strength for themselves, and 48% of them felt like they have a typical overall relationship skill building set competence, which is typical for their peers amongst themselves. And this definitely shows that this is the staff's commitment and the students' ability to connect with staff members, to connect with students, and feel like that this is an area of strength for them. So although we do have some definite areas that we need to target for need, there's also some good strengths that we're seeing, and we wanted to highlight that throughout this presentation as well. This is part of the data that we received.
And go to the next one. And so we helped develop a school-wide action plan for school-wide intervention. So our plan is to, once advisory period, which happens once a week at our school, once a month until the end of the school year. We'll have a targeted lesson for each one of our DESA competency areas. So this Monday was our first one. We focused on our Condor strength of relationship skills, and we provided our teachers with ready to use materials such as slides, resources, and worksheets for easy implementation in both English and Spanish for all of our students. We really stress the importance of active participation from our students and teachers in facilitating these lessons. And we got some student feedback on that first lesson. And over, I think about 80% of our students said that that was their favorite part of the lesson, was actively engaging with their peers in conversation and learning from one another. In the spring, we'll have a post screener and recollect the same data from our students. And we're hoping to see some progress with our students and hopefully see that these lessons had lasting impact so that we can aim to build more of these skills within our students.
And with the DESA lessons as well, we also have a staff survey in which they're able to provide us with feedback about the lessons. We are the ones developing, the school psychology team is the one developing primarily the DESA lesson plans for students. But we are definitely open to feedback and are providing that an opportunity for staff members and teachers who are going to be implementing these lessons to give us some feedback as well. We can go to the next slide. And with this transition, as we're seeing, we have data that we collected and we worked really hard to roll out the DESA this year, I think with the biggest completion rate here at the high school of over 80%. We also have some words from the Student Health and Wellness and Mental Health Club here. So we have 2 representatives that will be joining us and are going to continue to have a conversation around this need here at the high school.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Dr. Turkey, board members and community members. I am the Mental Wellness Club president. I'm Valentin Bautista. I'm an 11th grader.
My name is McKenna Clark, and I'm the vice president of the Mental Wellness Club. Good evening.
So we first initiated this club when I was given the opportunity back in April, when I was given the opportunity to advocate and talk about the lack of mental health resources at our school. And through that, we came into the discussion of having our club possibly become a wellness center. Next slide. Next slide.
So the Wellness Center would be an amazing opportunity for the students because it involves their student well-being. So their student well-being is an important topic. As students, we feel and see the need for more targeted supports on campus. So that is why we are currently exploring the possibility of creating a wellness center on campus. So a wellness center on campus could greatly improve our students' well-being and academic success by providing essential resources and support. Some of those resources include mental health support, mindfulness activities, peer connections, academic enhancement, and culture of wellness, which fosters an environment where well-being is prioritized and supported. Next slide, please.
We can go to the next one. So as part of this process, in terms of gathering information about what the community, the staff members, and the students want as potentially for a wellness center here on campus, we developed a survey and we made it available to staff and students. And then we also had a possibility for community input. So at a staff meeting, we presented the staff's input survey and we had about 40 staff members complete it. And we'll go over some of the data that was gathered from that.
So go ahead to the next slide. So we have some data points on this slide for you all, and you'll see that on the top left, we asked teachers and staff to rate on a scale from 1 to 5, how important is it to you to have a dedicated wellness center area on campus? And over 90% of our staff, so that would be rating it 3, 4, and 5, said that it was very important to them to have a dedicated wellness center on our physical campus. We asked them what kind of resources they'd like to see in the wellness center. They put in things such as counseling services, meditation or mindfulness stations, study and relaxation areas, peer support areas for both staff and students, and health and wellness information to be easily accessible at all times. We asked what type of activities or events would you like to see be offered? They wrote in things such as yoga classes, having guest speakers, including mental health workshops, guided meditation, study breaks, having things like movies and video games for relaxation times, even things like field trips, a community garden, or bringing in services such as therapy animals like therapy dogs or therapy kittens. We also asked them, how would you rate your current awareness of wellness resources on our campus right now? And about half of our staff, which would be about rating it a 3, 4, and a 5. Only half of our staff said that they know where to find current wellness resources for themselves and their students right now. Go ahead to the next slide.
Like I mentioned, this same survey is available for student and community input. So we've had, with the first DESA rollout lesson that was this Monday, we also asked students to complete this survey. We had over 200 respondents, and we'll go over the results from the students. And then you have those on your handout.
So you should have a handout.
Yes. So as you can see, a majority of our responses came from our students, of course. Out of our 223 responses, 177 believe having a mental wellness center on campus is very important.
Next slide. Next slide. So here you see our vision for our ideal vision for our wellness center. Here we set up a system where it is a self-guided system for students to walk in, greeted by a clerk. To your right, there is a community hub for students and staff to do any type of activity that we provide. If a student feels the need to go to a more independent regulating station, which you see those on the bottom 3 sections. Those are regulating stations where students go and regulate through these workshops and practice breath work and regulating activities to better your mental health. If a student feels a need to talk to a mental health professional, there will also be offices for our therapists or psychiatrists, any sort of mental health professionals. And to the upper left, we have a more confidential space for group meetings, group therapy sessions, or additional workshop space. This is our vision for our ideal mental wellness center. Yeah, if you want to add on.
So to emphasize, staff and students can both profit off of this mental wellness center because, you know, students aren't the only ones struggling with mental health, obviously. And having 6 periods, a bunch of students can be very stressful on teachers. So this is also, we want to emphasize this is also for them. So if you'll go back and look at your handouts, you'll see for the location, the results of the location of the wellness center, 43.4% of students said they would like it in the front of the campus. And to go off of that, from the results we also collected from the staff, they agreed. The majority wanted it in front of the campus. So we are hoping to make that possible with help, of course. And let's see. Some wellness topics that students figured would be important to learn more about include stress management, substance abuse, relationships, coping mechanisms, and how to handle my feelings. So the type of activities and events that they think should be offered at a wellness center include fun things to keep mind off stress or situations, community/group get-togethers, recharge stations, arts and crafts, again, rest and recharge areas, events with teachers, outdoor activities, and therapy animals. So something we want to highlight here is, as you can see in what I just read off, stress was mentioned 2 times. And in the survey, students wrote in responses mentioning stress over about 80 times. So that's something we just really want to get out there, because with the trend of seeing the word stress in all their responses, we figure it is a big issue among the students.
And I think Valentin is a psychiatrist, I think you psychologist?
Psychology.
Psychologist, just to clarify.
We can go forward one slide.
Okay, so I know Valentin went over his vision for his ideal vision and McKenna's vision for an wellness center on campus. We do want to address that. We have considerations where we've had conversations around space, around supervision, staffing, and the capacity of the wellness center with the current resources we have. These would be ongoing conversations that we're hoping with you all support, we're able to make this a reality here on campus at North Monterey County High School. In terms of space, that one of the reasons we asked why, ideally, where do staff and students want to see this wellness center is because this would obviously mean relocating some staff members possibly and making some shifting around. And that also involves staff and students being flexible around what the facilities are currently being used for. So, we have the data, we recognize that this is where staff and students are saying, and hopefully we're going to get some community input, but this is what they're saying. Ideally, it's the front of the school where this center would be located. In terms of supervision and staffing, I think there can also be some conversations around who may be monitoring through the 5-star system, who is in the wellness center, who's utilizing it, and possible a staff member who's assigned to that area with some funding being available to that. And the capacity, right? Recognizing that this is a new initiative, that other sites already have this in place and they're able to make it happen at other districts. So recognizing that although it requires some flexibility, we should be able to make it happen with the support.
We can move on to our last slide. And this one's for our students.
So if you flip the handout that was given to you, our survey is there and we want to hear from you. We want you to take the survey and we want to hear your opinions and thoughts as to how we want the wellness center to look like and how we want it to run. We would like your opinions and thoughts. Please feel free to ask any questions.
And to close, if you know any high school students here in North County, or if you want to get into contact with us, we do have an Instagram and email. Our Instagram is at NMC Mental Wellness, and our email is nmchsmhc@gmail.com. So please, if you have any students that might be interested, send them our way. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I'm gonna first open it to public comment. All right. What about Zoom? Closing public comment. Julia, we're gonna start with you.
I'm really glad that the idea of a wellness center is being pushed out more and more, and it looks like it's starting to, actually become closer to happening, because like as a student, we're here 7 hours a day, 45, not even 45 minutes out of the day is when we have a break. And sometimes, some of those days it's just not enough. And seeing friends who struggle with mental health and wishing you could help them, but sometimes as another student, we can't, maybe they need to call a family member, and having time out of their day to do that and go to a wellness center, it's just really important. I'm really glad that you guys push for this.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Julia. Rick?
Yeah, like Julia was saying, some students are here even longer, and I always been talking about and wondering if, eventually we could, have the, since some students are here from 6:30 or 7 in the morning to, during certain seasons, they're here till 9:30 and 10 o'clock at night, on non-game days, on practice days. But that's just, that's expanded kind of, but Valentin and his partners have been speaking about this all year at community alliance meetings. And the first I heard of it, I was like, with it for sure. It's really important, and the fact that we haven't had them yet, just shows that we just got to step up, and they've been, had tenacity and have been sticking with it, advocating. I mean, it's something to be super, super, super proud of. I would just also just like I told you, you could reach out with the board members. Um, and then as part of the technical stuff, I would talk to more teachers, maybe some union representatives, that way get feedback from them and see if there's any suggestions they have and stuff like that. But, the students, of course, taking all that initiative to questionnaires, and surveys and stuff. Yeah, it's awesome. That's exactly where you want to hear it from and try to make happen for them. And I'm proud of it. I'm proud of you guys for sure.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rick. Angela?
Yeah, so I'd say great job. I mean, public speaking can be hard. It's tough for adults and teens. So, and you did amazing. Really gotta say I'm impressed that this club was not there when I was teaching at the high school. So I'm glad to see it started. And it's motivating to hear you guys talk, hear Julia talk. I grew up in an era where mental health was taboo. I was brought up where we bury that sucker deep. It tries to resurface, we bury it deeper and we never speak of it again, And unfortunately that can rear its ugly head 20, 30, 40 years down the road. And to see how the youth has taken upon themselves to lead the way, because I'll be honest, I was not raised that way, so I don't even know how. So I'm learning from you guys. So I give you guys a lot of props for taking charge, because it is something new. And like I said, for a lot of adults my age or even older, we don't know how to do that. So you have to teach us. So thank you for, taking charge and coming up here, and know that it's, like I said, I tell this to all adults too. It's not scary, it's simple talking to us. And we want to hear more from you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Dr. Turkey?
Valentine McKenna, thank you so much for both this presentation, but more than the presentation, the work itself, which you've been doing to get this far, right? A really fantastic job. We do love to hear from students about what you want, about what would work for you, right? And you're advocating at the exact right place, okay, at the exact right level to make this happen. And we're with you and we want to make this happen. Okay, so thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I would echo everything that was said, and I think it's really good to hear from students who are teaching us adults to remove the stigma of saying sometimes I'm mentally not okay and I need resources. So props to you all for bringing in more awareness to everyone. And I know that in all honesty, it stressed me out to hear that there was 80 times the word stress mentioned from our students, because school shouldn't be a place of stress. It should be a place of where they want to learn, where there's an environment that if they get to that level, there's another space where they could de-escalate. So thank you for bringing this to our awareness, and I look forward for us to discuss and mention. But one question I did have about the front of the campus. Are you suggesting any specific space, or just look at front of the campus as the location?
So we had a discussion with my principal, current principal, Ms. Martinez, and I know Superintendent Turkey was there. We had a discussion that we could have room 1 and room 3 as the designated space for the wellness center. I don't know if it's still a discussion that the adults are talking about, or just right now what we're trying to focus on is the space. So yeah, if I'm being honest, we don't have a designated space, but we do have one in mind, and we're honestly here to hear back from you guys as well. Where do you think our wellness center could be?
Thank you. Thank you for letting us know. And again, I look forward to having a discussion and figuring out how to bring more resources for you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, moving on to Classified School Employee Association. Do we have anyone? Okay. Teachers Federation. Do we have anyone?
Hi, I am, good evening, board members and Dr. Turkey and community. My name is Jennifer Clayton and I represent the North Monterey County Federation of Teachers. And I am very happy to report that we have reached a tentative agreement for a 5% salary increase on step and column for the 24-25 school year, retroactive to August. We sincerely appreciate your support and today was just a really good day for us. So we're very happy about it. So thank you.
Thank you. All right, we're gonna start with student report.
Okay.
Oh. It says board reports, but I don't see student report on the agenda, but you're part of our report, so we'll do student report.
We shifted it like
Yeah.
that so that they would all be together.
Okay.
With the thought that you're absolutely right. The
Right.
jeweler's report would go first.
Yes,
Thank you.
we're just acknowledging something different.
Yes, yes.
Thank you. Okay, next slide, please. Thank you. So our agenda, we have one current event, which is the Week of Giving, and then upcoming events, we have a resource fair that's hosted by the Women Empowerment Club, and then Winter Week in about 4 weeks. Next slide, please. Thank you. So currently it is the Week of Giving, the week before Thanksgiving, and we want to really push it out there to our community members, our staff, our students, and of course the board members and Dr. Turkey, that we are having a canned food drive and a toy drive. And so room 2, right by the front of the school, you can donate non-perishable food items and they'll go to the North Monterey County, no, the North Monterey County yeah, food bank, sorry. And then the toys will be donated to kids who aren't as fortunate and can't receive gifts, and this is their way of giving back to the community. And so if anyone has non-perishable food items that, you know, are just sitting in their cabinet, we really recommend that they're donated in room 2 at the high school. All right, next slide, please. And then the Women Empowerment Club is a fairly new club, and they're looking to host a fair, a resource fair on Friday, December 13th in about 3 weeks. And it's from 4:30 to 7:30 p.m. It's after school. And it has valuable resources and programs to empower women. And there's going to be key speakers, I believe 2 or 3 key speakers offering support and advice for women, and not just women, anyone in the community is invited, and it's just a motivational fair for all people of our community. And then in about 4 weeks, we have our Winter Week coming up, our next Spirit Week. And so we have dress up days and lunchtime activities. Mondays, Candy Cane Chaos, and it's red and white attire. And I believe that the toy drive, that the can drive ends this week, but the toy drive will go on to Winter Week, as to my knowledge. And then Tuesday is Toasty Tuesday, and there we wear puffers, scarves, and fleece, and there's ornament making where students can take home the ornaments that they make. And Wednesdays Wrap It Up Wednesday, so holiday headgear, bows, and holiday patterns. And then you could see wrap gifts for the toy drive. And then Thursday's Holiday Havoc, so ugly sweaters, and the LTA's our condor mascot will dress up in a Santa costume and people can take pictures of the condor. And then Friday, Snowed in Slumber, since it's the last day, finals day, students can wear pajamas, and during lunchtime they could receive stocking stuffers and hot cocoa, just to kind of mellow out, have a chill last day. And then, so that's it for the presentation, but I also wanted to mention that our Raices Club on campus performed at the CABE conference at MC Suites in Seaside. And so the CABE conference is California Association for Bilingual Education. And it's not just Mexican heritage, it's all cultures, and it's meant to celebrate multilingualism. And that was yesterday, I believe. And then also our fall sports performances at CCS. First with cross country, our varsity girls placed second overall and second in the Gavilan division. And our varsity boys placed third in the mission division and eighth overall. And then with football, last Friday, they put up a great fight in San Jose and at Branham against the Bruins. And then lastly, our senior dinner dance is this Saturday, and we have still 2 spots open. So if anyone knows any seniors, they could see Mrs. Lowenson in room 2. And there's about 136 seniors going so far. That's it.
Thank you, Julia.
Thank you.
Awesome. Those are fun activities. I wish I could
Yeah,
participate.
the first of the senior activities. Rick?
Just doing getting over the fall sports in middle school too, and boys 8th, well, they're actually boys in general, 7th and 8th grade put together. Soccer won the Mission Trail Junior League first place, and the girls, they made the playoffs, but they lost in the semis. Did a great job, had the banquet last night. Julia mentioned the high school sports, did wonderful, really great. Can't wait now already, for the winter sports and in all the levels, basketball, wrestling and all that. Gonna be great. Can't wait. Just meetings and school and stuff. We're gonna get a little break next week for Thanksgiving. But that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Angelo.
So that's kind of an interesting one. Want to do basically a shout out to our superintendent, to our cabinet team. The past few weeks we've been busy. You inherited a budget that was not created by you and not designed by you. And the amount of work that I saw, dedication to our teachers, I just beyond impressed with just a high level of professionalism and work that you guys brought. I think you guys had to take it on the chin a couple of times and it wasn't fair. Because I saw stepping from a previous role as a teacher to now as a board member, I get to see the wizard behind the curtain. I get to see what you guys are doing that's never shown to the public. And I'm just very fortunate that I got to witness you guys in action. Very proud of you. I want to let everyone know that I saw firsthand with my own eyes your dedication to our district, to our teachers, towards our classified staff. And just basically, fixing something that we've been wanting fixed. For issues you did not create. It's been an honor for the past few weeks to sit by you guys and see you guys at work, and it makes me feel very confident of where our district is heading. So from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much for everything you guys have done.
Thank you, Angelo. And I'll add to that also for being patient with us as boards and trying to learn and trying to understand and trying to respond to all the different questions, demands, everything coming your way. Thank you. Thank you. And thank you for the hard work and the hours put to work together. And I was listening, and as we've been listening to the presentations of different schools, different departments, stuff, for me, it's been eye-opening and really good to see the joy that the staff is coming and talking about their work and what they're doing. I think that shows like we're moving to the right direction, where we're bringing our game and bringing this best. And again, we can call out things that still need to change, but we are working towards making a better space for all of us, in which I want to thank you all. And then I just want to wish everyone a good break. A well-deserved good break, and enjoy whatever you do. Enjoy it, and I'm really thankful for everyone, including our community. All right. Dr. Turkey, your turn.
Yeah. It's interesting when you mentioned kind of going on break, I was like, oh yeah, we actually get to slow down for a bit. It's like, yeah, that thing's coming. I'm looking forward to that too. I'd also like to say that I'm very happy that we have reached a tentative agreement with the teachers union around a 5% raise. I think that that is very fair, and we want to get to, I mean, we want to recognize our teachers for the very hard work which they do. We mentioned today in closed session that the number one impact on student learning is teachers, the number one impact, right? And you know, the honest truth is that within our society, we probably don't pay teachers enough, right? And we probably don't value teachers enough within our society. And here at North County, we want to compensate our teachers, our certificated staff, and our classified staff as well as we possibly can. And you know, we think that we've hit a good balance. Okay, because that's what budgeting is all around. It's around balance. And we feel that we've hit a good balance. And I appreciate the team who's been working through this with me, Cabinet. So Cabinet, thank you. I appreciate the Teachers Union for us all being able to come to a swift agreement today. It was a pretty smooth day. So I'm appreciative of that for everybody. And, you know, working together to seek common ground. And then to your point, Adriana, being transparent about where we are, right? Being transparent about how we get to certain places and then the work which we do in between, right? We don't know everything all the time at all, right? And then next month we know something different. And next month we know something different. And that's normal, right? But then just being transparent around that. This is our first budget cycle as a cabinet, right? Most of cabinet started in July. We're still learning around how the budget behaves. We're still learning around what's in the budget and what is all needed in the budget for this school district because we haven't been through the cycle yet. So again, thank you everybody and thank you for your patience, but it was a good day today. Next slide, please. Okay, so we had a visit from our superintendent of schools at the county, Dr. Deneen Gus, and we visited a couple of schools. We visited the middle school and we visited Echo Valley. The picture in the middle school there is actually with one of our most improved students, Nimsy, over at the middle school, who actually got an award given to her by the county superintendent, which was actually pretty special. So go Nimsy. And in a few different classes there as well. We visited different classes inside both schools and saw some great teaching and learning, which was wonderful. Next slide, please. We had an AVID regional training over the weekend, and I want to say thank you very much to both Janae and to Bridget for organizing the AVID training. It was a good success. They had different breakout rooms, so different interests, for example, folks who go to different places. So, for example, there's one around secondary leadership, there was one around secondary math, so on and so forth. So you could really kind of like choose the flavor which most suited you as a teacher. And next slide, please. We've been continuing on with our tier 1 trainings. We had our secondary training last week. I think it was last week. Or was it this week? Oh my goodness, it was this week. It was this week. A lot's been going on. And again, really good. I really appreciate the teams as they come and really thinking about their next steps, right? In each of these sessions, we do ask folks, okay, since the last time we met, here are the action steps, right? And we ask folks, okay, what is it that you actually did out of the action steps, right? No judgment, because most of the time we're not able to pull off everything. But what actually happened, right? And then we ask, okay, well, out of what actually happened, what went well and what didn't go well? And then considering what did go well and what didn't go well, what are some next steps which you think that you can do until next time we meet? Okay. And then each time we come, we go through a very similar cycle, right? Now we will layer on other things which we need to pay attention to. So, for example, we've been layering on social emotional learning and PBIS at this particular session, right? As well as layering on the academics from the last session. So it's just great to see educators learning well and leaning in. We also did some really great work around equity, around something called shifting the discourse from simplistic discourse of blaming students or families or one another for poor results, rather than looking in the mirror and then thinking, gosh, what can we do together collectively to make things better? So we're kind of moving ourselves from the language of complaint and the language of blame to the language of commitment and the language of collaboration and about getting started anyway. So really great meetings, which I've thoroughly enjoyed. Next slide, please. So an announcement, which is we're going to start having some community town halls. These are starting in the new year. There is going to be one every month, happening every third Wednesday. So we're getting started on January the 15th, which will be here at the high school. And all are invited. There will be about 2 hours, so from 5:30 to 7:30. There will be translations in both Spanish and Mixteco. There will be childcare available, and there will be food. So please do come, and yeah, hopefully we'll be able to get input and thoughts from the community at large. So please, yeah, come along. Next slide, please. Okay, our communications survey is still up and live, including the question around which day would suit you best for board meetings. We have on the table Tuesdays, Wednesdays, or Thursdays. So please give us your feedback. The QR codes are right there. Next slide, please. So a couple of staff spotlights. This is Guadalupe Serrano. Miss Serrano is a second grade teacher at Echo Valley Elementary, and we visited her classroom just a week ago. And oh my, what a fantastic classroom. So this is a bilingual classroom. Miss Serrano has got all of her learning objectives and success criteria up for the entire day in both English and in Spanish. Okay. She has a high level of engagement and a high level of rigor for her students and a high level of support. All of those things together make Miss Serrano a rock and roll teacher. And Miss Serrano, we appreciate you. You do such a great job for our second graders over at Echo Valley. Thank you so very much. Next slide, please. So now we're going to middle school. This is another teacher we visited on the exact same day, Mr. Aaron Helfgott. Now, Mr. Helfgott is on the other end of things. He is a brand new teacher. Right now, whereas Miss Serrano is an experienced teacher who's been in the classroom a long time, Mr. Helfgott is not. He is brand new. And as a brand new teacher, he is really pulling out all of the stops. Okay. First of all, he's enthusiastic. Okay. You can tell he has the students are listening to him. He's put out, he has his own classroom economy. Okay, which he uses. So essentially, students have to pay rent for their seats, right, within the classroom economy. And then they can also earn back with attendance and that sort of thing. And so he has this whole classroom economy, which he does, and the kids are super into. And he is learning and open to learning. And he's getting a good support from the administration there, and really as a first year teacher is doing a really rock and roll job. So nice job, Mr. Helfgott. And next slide, please. So the next staff spotlight is Nancy Gonzalez, who is one of our sippers over at Castroville Elementary. Now, Antonio Garcia, our Assistant Super of Ed Services, recently led a learning walk over at Castroville, and Ms. Gonzalez joined them for their learning walk, going from classroom to learn about what teaching and learning was going on, and then to think about what was going well, what wasn't going well, and what some next steps were. She was part of the team and was really leaning into the instructional side of things. And so, Nancy Gonzalez, thank you so much. We appreciate you. Next slide, please. So this is our management spotlight here, which is, and we want to recognize Hector. Mr. Hector Perez, our transportation director, works so incredibly hard to make sure that students get to school every day and get home every single day. right? We know that the very first person, which most of our students see, is the bus driver, right? The very last person they see before they go home is the bus driver, right? We know that when there are folks missing, if there are folks who are ill, Hector is making sure that kids can get to school. Okay. He's running the numbers and thinking about the routes. And when needed, he gets behind the wheel himself. So, Hector, you are the early riser here. I mean, he gets to work at some crazy hour in the morning to make sure that our kids get to school. So, Hector, thank you so very much. We appreciate you. And next slide, please. That's the last one. I thought it might be. Thank you. Okay, that's the end of superintendent report. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. All right, let's move on to adoption of the consent agenda.
Move to adopt.
Second,
Second.
preferential vote.
Aye.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, roll call. Rick,
Aye.
Angelo,
Present.
no, but
Yes or no?
yes or no, we have to do roll call
Aye.
voting.
Sorry, I'm out of it.
I know, me too,
aye.
I'm kind of like, what are we doing? All right, and myself, I am preferential vote, Julia.
Aye.
All right, let's go on to discussion items, approval of resolution 2024-2510, National Native American Heritage Month. And
Yes.
I would like to do a reading,
Oh,
if
please.
allowed.
Yeah. In fact, Adriana, if you want to take this one, please do.
I can give it to you, but I wanted actually do a reading.
No, please.
We acknowledge the land we are on today, unceded land, which means it was not given, it was taken as the territory of the Esselen, known as today as the Ohlone Consulate Esselen Nation. The town of specifically Castroville is called Huacharon. Is the tribal of this land, and we pay respect to the elder, past, present, and emerging for their hold of memories, the traditions, the culture, and hope of our people. We also acknowledge the tribal government and respect their spiritual roles today in their cultural and heritage beliefs that are still important to the living Ocelot Nation people.
Okay. Thank you, Adriana. So November is designated as National Native American Heritage Month, and this observance commemorates the history, heritage, and culture of Native Americans. And it's during this month that we acknowledge the vast achievement of America's original indigenous people. And so I urge the board to approve the resolution for National Native American Heritage Month.
Any opening it for any public comment? All right, Sue? Closing public comment board. Julia?
My mom is 47, about 47% Native American. And so I'm Native American, and it's really glad to see from my mom's side that part of our heritage. And I'm really glad about this. Thank you.
Anybody? All right, this is a motion item.
Move to approve.
Second.
All right, roll call. Preferential vote,
Aye, of course.
Rick?
Aye.
Angelo?
Present and I.
Stop it. And I. All right, motion passes. Moving on to the next one, adoption of board resolution 2024-2512, recognizing November of National Homeless Youth Awareness Month.
Evening, everyone. I'm Katie Turner, and I'm here on behalf of the resolution. So November is National Homeless Youth Awareness Month. Every year, hundreds of thousands of American families become homeless, including more than 4.2 million children. Here in North County, with the data that was just released today, 29.2% of our students are identified as unhoused in the last school year, which is around 1,296 students. I really wanted to take this opportunity to recognize Diana Castellanos. She has a long title, so she wrote it down for me. She's the Child Welfare, Homeless, and Foster Youth Coordinator. And I think you should come up here, but she doesn't want to, but it's her.
Absolutely.
I second that.
I reached out to our county representative who works with the Dianas across the county. Her name is Donna Smith, Dr. Donna Smith. And so these are some words she wanted to share about Diana. I was going to have flowers and I totally forgot, so I'm so sorry. But she told me she doesn't like them, so it's okay. Diana works tirelessly for the families she serves. She is always looking for ways to enhance the current program to better meet the needs of students and actively participates with the Monterey County Office of Education's Homeless Children and Youth Service Program to assist other school districts and charter schools with their programs as well. She is creative, innovative, and compassionate. She works well with the families and staff, as well as the community members who interact with her program. We are so fortunate to be able to work with Diana. You could not ask for a better person to lead the charge in making life better for our homeless children and youth. And in the short time I worked this closely with Diana, I just want to also echo that she is passionate and an advocate for our youth in all spaces that she's in. She is a spreadsheet queen. Yes, she is. And she accomplishes big things like finding housing for families and fully furnishing them. And she's an expert in organization and cleaning. She crushes it. So I just want to recognize her. And with that, I'll just read them. Some the final pieces of the resolution. North Monterey County is committed to improving student equity and access to high quality education for youth experiencing homelessness. And with the continued liaison support to school students in our community, as well as being a premier service organization. And so I'm proposing this resolution for the North Monterey County Board of Education.
Thank you. I'll open it to public comment first. Right, Sue? Okay, closing public comment. Julia? No? Right, Rick?
Thank you for having this resolution and bringing it to us. It's definitely absolutely something to be recognized. Thank you.
Angela?
Yes, I'm very excited to speak about Diana and this resolution. I first met Diana at the LCAP meeting that we did here when I first learned what our percentage of homeless, displaced youth and foster kids were. And it was such an incredibly high number that I thought that it had to be wrong. And then you started educating me on it. You've been an amazing source of information to help me do my duties as a board member. As I've gotten to know you for the past year, I've just been blown away by everything you've done for the district. You go way above and beyond your job description to the point where I start getting very concerned for you. You know, where I'm like, girl, you need to sleep. You deserve free time, you know, but it just shows your dedication. You don't let any obstacles or barriers come between you and your mission to serving your students. It's awe-inspiring, awe-inspiring. In fact, you're so open to talk to you about any time. I'll put it out there. She lives a few houses down from me. And I can even talk to you when I'm walking my dog about what's going on with your department. And you just such a big, important part of our family here. And just like I said, and I don't know how many times your titles have changed in the past year, you know, but I appreciate that you keep doing everything you're doing and just the many hats that you wear, all because you're just so dedicated to this place. So I'm just hope that we never lose, you know, never lose you, that we chain you to a desk and keep you working forever, you know, but it's just thank you for everything from the bottom of my heart. Seriously, thank you for everything you do. Thank you for educating us on what's really going on. And I just, like I said, just blown away by you. I don't know what else to say. It's all inspiring. So thank you for your hard work. And same as you, Dr. Turner. I'm glad I finally got to meet you at the FRC. You guys are kind of our unsung heroes. You know, when you guys are away in the corner, we don't see you, but then when we finally do, it's just awe-inspiring and mind-blowing. Just services you guys provide. So thank you for bringing this resolution and for the hard work you guys brought.
Dr. Turkey?
I too was kind of shocked when I saw that was essentially 30% of our students here in North Monterey County designated as homeless by the McKinney-Vento definition. And, these are, again, amongst some of the most vulnerable students. And I think that there's a real crossover here with providing those social emotional supports and making sure that every single student has at least one adult which they can trust and go to at school. It is so important. Keeping kids in school is really about those connections. So as much as we can foster those connections for students, for all students, but especially our homeless students, I think is super important. Thank you. And Diana, thank you for all your work here. Appreciate it.
Sure, we could close it.
Cassandra Quaylar again, former student here, also former homeless student in the district, who can honestly say that teachers in this district saved my life. I was on a very bad downward spiral when we lost our home, sleeping in the car, bad situations, very bad situations. And teachers took time, people in our district took time to take care of me, tell me I mattered, tell me that I could succeed when the whole world around me was making me feel like we weren't going to make it out of that alive. And I went from failing out of school, dropping out of school, to straight A's valedictorian of North County. And so people like you, people like us, as teachers, that connection, that one person, and ultimately a teacher did take me home and let me live with her and raise me through high school, really do matter. And even saving one kid's life is a huge, huge accomplishment for this district.
Thank you, Ms. Queller, for sharing. I mean, Angelo and everyone, Diana, I also gone to learn and learn and learn about what you do, and your work is done with corazón, with heart, and that is very impressive. Very few people come and start with their heart and in their workplace, and you always start there and then start reasoning and being like, what else can happen? And so that says a lot. I'm a firm believer that housing is a human right. And so thank you for fighting for that right of our students. And I know that 30% is really high, but I'm sure that it's higher. It's just some of our students are not saying it, or some of our families are not saying it. And this is very, very important because not in this area, but in another area, a student lost his life for being bullied due to being homeless. And so we want to make sure that our students don't feel that way, and that our students know that we will fight for resources and work for resources for them so they can feel, and you are having them come into our district and feeling welcome. And thank you for telling your story, because this is what I was saying, that the more I hear of things that are happening, the more that it's so good to know that we're going and we're working and we're all connecting to do better and better each day. But thank you, and thank you for your work. This is a motion item, so
Move to adopt.
I'll second. All right. Roll call. Preferential vote. Julia.
Aye.
Rick.
Aye.
Angela.
Aye.
And I. All right. Motion passed. Next item, general obligation bond presentation. Thank you for patiently waiting. Do you mind if we have a
Not a problem.
2-minute break?
2-minute.
2-minute break.
Careful. Good to see you. Good to see you. How are you? Good to see you. Yeah. Things are good. Thank you for being here today. Yeah. Everybody get a good time. We're making steps.
Ready?
Good.
Ready? Okay, perfect.
Good evening, Superintendent Turkey and honorable members of the board. I am Shin Green of East Shore Consulting, here tonight to talk with you about general obligation bond refunding. You have a resolution before you, and I'm going to present a presentation to explain why we're going to consider that resolution and provide some information on the potential general obligation bond refinancing of the district. We can go to the next slide, forward 2 actually. Just as a bit of background, as was presented to the board in June, there is an opportunity to refinance some of the existing general obligation bonds to reduce the interest expense and the required tax rates for repayment of those prior obligations. At this time, the district's Measure H Series A issued in 2014 are eligible for refinancing on any date. Under current market conditions, as of a couple of weeks back on the 8th, around when the agenda deadline was, it was projected that that refinancing could save over $900,000 in interest expense, and that is after any costs incurred for the refinancing. That's what would be realized by the taxpayers. The savings from refinancing the bonds would be used to, again, reduce tax rates by reducing the interest expense and essentially replacing those previous bonds with what we will call the 2025 GO refunding bonds. And so this presentation will provide an overview of the 2025 general obligation refunding bonds, as well as the anticipated action you'll be taking later on the agenda to approve a resolution authorizing that refinancing. We go to the next slide, you'll just see here a very quick list of the district's general obligation bonds. You have 4 series actually of general obligation bonds outstanding from 2 different measures. And you'll notice up top in Measure E from 2002, you have the 2012 and 2016 GO refunding bonds. So refunding of bonds is not new to the district. You've done this in the past with your prior authorizations obligations. And the first series of your Measure H is now due for a similar refinancing. Approximately $13.6 million of principal remains outstanding on that issuance. And there are other issues as well as some general fund backed certificates of participations and leases, which do not just meet the criteria as of yet, either have not reached their date or are financially not viable. We go to the next slide. Why do we refinance bonds and what's sort of the rationale behind it? When you originally issue your bonds, they usually have a term of about 25 to 30 years. As time passes and you have years go by, the remaining term on those bonds becomes shorter and shorter. And very much like your home mortgage, when you go from a 30-year mortgage to a 15-year mortgage, you have lower interest rates for shorter duration bonds. And so what we are doing here is essentially taking the higher interest rate bonds that were issued back in 2014 and bringing them down to lower interest rates because it's no longer 10 or 15 or 25 years out, it's 1 to 15 years out. And so that's the rationale for why we do this, essentially replacing higher interest cost bonds with lower interest cost bonds. In terms of the fundamentals of a refunding, almost all bonds allow for early repayment, but they do usually have an initial lockout period. We've reached the end of that period for those bonds we're looking to refinance, and that's usually a 10-year window. And so very much, again, like a mortgage, you have a shorter duration, therefore a shorter interest rate. You may wonder, well, interest rates are higher now than they were in prior years. That is true. And the real reason for the main purpose or main portion of the savings is that reduction in the term or the duration of repayment at this time. If we have better interest rates than when they were issued, you might save a little bit more. If interest rates are a little worse, you might save a little less. But other things also impact the level of savings and the interest rate you will experience, including things like the credit rating of the district and your history of solid financial management, which if you can get a higher rating will reduce your rates. And of course, there are external factors which you can't control, such as markets, as well as state budgetary concerns, which may result in higher borrowing rates. So let's take a look at interest rates. If we flip one slide forward, over time, you will see in late 2023, we had sort of a peak in interest rates. You're looking at the 5-year, 10-year, and 20-year maturities for tax-exempt rates, similar to the bonds that you have issued in a tax-exempt mode. And you'll see that actually our lowest interest rates in the year of 2024 have been January. We've been higher than that since then. There was a lot of optimism in January of 2024 about the end of inflation. News was not supporting that kind of optimism. And so as the year went by, rates did trend back up, Moving back down as we started seeing the Fed rate cuts occur. And then you see at the very end there, a little bit of static in the lines, and that really is the outcome of the election and the uncertainty brought about by the election, which has got people trying to triangulate what future interest rates may look like and figure out where things will be. But I can tell you overall, if you look at this on a 20-year time frame, we're kind of in the range of where rates have been on average during that time frame. So not too far outside the realm of the norm, certainly not at the super lows of the pandemic, but not at those peak highs of last year either. So let's talk about this proposed 2025 GO refunding bond and the issuance process. And all debt, whether it's a GO bond, a COP, or anything that's done by a municipality, sort of has a similar issuance process. When we're refinancing debt, we achieve that through issuing new bonds to repay the previous bonds and use that same issuance process. Would note that under state law, the refinancing of any general obligation bond must result in lower overall repayment costs and cannot extend the time frame. So we're not talking about getting to a lower payment by stretching things out or doing something like some people might do with a mortgage to kind of pick their payment. You really are constrained. You cannot extend the final duration of the maturity for the bonds that are refinanced, and you must have savings from that refinancing. So we can't do this and end up in a worse place under state law. As with any issuance, it does require a team. The expertise is not necessarily in-house in every district to go through the issuance process, and we'll highlight who those team members are here a little later in this presentation. But the district and its board can direct that team to provide minimum savings requirements, which if not achieved, we will not proceed with that refinancing. And I'll have a recommendation for that at the end of my presentation. But the idea behind this team is to meet the district's goals and do as instructed by the district. Moving forward, you will see one more slide, please. Sort of a timeline of what we anticipate doing, and you'll see on the 21st, you've actually already taken action to accept in your consent agenda the underwriter's G17 LOI and disclosures. These issuances are regulated by the Securities and Exchange Commission, and so Rule G17 of the Securities and Exchange Commission requires any and all underwriters to provide you with disclosures on potential conflicts of interest before they can work on your transaction. We will also have a resolution to present to you today for your approval, and that resolution approves a myriad of documents in their form. They are not finalized as of yet, and we'll get into why they aren't as we explain each of the documents. From there, we go into the rating process where we will have the district's credit rating review, looking to have those conversations with the superintendent and assistant superintendent of business services, meeting with the team at Moody's Investor Service to update the district's rating and highlight all the great news that you haven't heard since the last time they talked with the district. Beyond that, once we have all of that rating and stuff in order and we continue to update these documents, there is something called a preliminary official statement, one of the documents in the packet tonight that we will post. That preliminary official statement is an offering document to potential investors. It is regulated by SEC. If you're curious, it's SEC Rule 15C212. Makes for great bedtime reading. That being said, once we have that preliminary official statement posted and it's somewhat factual and we've reviewed it to ensure its accuracy, we're envisioning trying to set interest rates in January of 2025 with these bonds closing and everything put to bed by the end of January. Like doing bonds in January for a couple of reasons. It's the start of a new year. Everyone has a fresh balance sheet in the fiscal world, and you tend to have a lot of year-end money, bonuses and the like that filter in and are looking to be invested in January. So historically, it's been a great time to price bonds. Last year, it was our lowest interest rate period for some of those reasons. Can't guarantee that replicates itself every year, but it is a trend that we're used to seeing. So that's kind of the timeline in a nutshell. If we go to the next slide, these are really just words describing that timeline we walked through. And so to spell any additional time being spent on this, we will go ahead and move on to the next slide. As I mentioned, there's a team. I wish I could get people to work for free, but that's not possible. And so you see here the proposed issuance costs associated with this refinancing and the various parties that would be involved. And I'll describe while we're on this slide what's on the language on the next page, but the team includes a municipal or financial advisor. East Shore Consulting is such a firm, and we serve as your representative, coordinating all the various parties, reviewing the proposed transaction, providing advice to the district as your fiduciary. We are also MSRB, or Municipal Securities Rule Board regulated. And under our regulations, we must be your fiduciary. Your goals supersede our bottom lines and things of that nature. So if you come to me and say, hey, don't do this refunding, we don't do this refunding. You also have a bond counsel. That is an attorney who specializes in the space of tax exempt debt. And they will provide legal documentation and prepare the legal opinions that opine on the tax exempt status of the bonds. Municipal bonds are issued as a tax exempt status because they benefit the general public, allowing you to have a lower interest rate than you would normally find from a bank loan or other sources. We also have disclosure counsel, and that is an attorney who's focused narrowly on that preliminary official statement, that SEC regulated offering document, to make sure that it is in compliance with all the various rules, to follow up and make sure we have everything factual and accurate in there. That is a document we take very seriously. One of the reasons why we do not give you the final version today is that we know when we post this, there'll be new information, potentially audited financials, potentially first interim, potentially updates on enrollment, other things that we'd like to include in that document to make it as accurate and as timely as possible once it's provided. And disclosure counsel is responsible for focusing on that narrow scope. There is also an underwriter and in a negotiated bond sale for municipal debt. That is the banking entity that essentially connects the district's offering with potential investors, whether those are retirement funds or individuals who are looking to buy tax exempt bonds, and maybe you're looking for the tax advantage in California. They are your conduit to those investors and also the buyer of last resort for any bonds which may not find an investor on the day that we offer them. The next entity is the paying agent, and they are a banking entity that serves as the bank for the proposed debt, servicing that debt. You have a paying agent existing currently for your current bonds, and we simply use that same paying agent, U.S. Bank. And so not really a new party to the district, but a party that will be serving a role in this issuance once it completes. There's also a rating agency that reviews the credit of the district and opines on it for credit quality, which is what we place on the preliminary official statement so that investors can figure out how solid is this investment from their portfolio standpoint. And so the rating agency and everyone is basically all here for the transaction. I would note the paying agent is someone you live with years after the transaction as the bonds are serviced, and that paying agent is still servicing bonds that were issued in the past by the district. There are a few miscellaneous other service providers for providing data, printing and verification of data that are also involved, but their fees are relatively limited. And so if we go forward 2 more slides, I've talked about everything on that. Tonight before you have some documentation for consideration. It all really starts with the district's resolution authorizing the issuance of the refunding bonds. That resolution spells out the terms and limitations on that issuance and approves the other agreements needed to complete that issuance in their form, authorizing the staff to complete those as we move the process forward. Why do we not bring those back to the board? Quite frankly, when we're in markets, things are very real time. And if we have a bond to sale and something changes, we don't have the time or luxury to go back to a board for reapproval to hold with the market where it might be over the course of a day or 2 days. So it really is about expediency, but you can set the parameters beyond which we will not do anything that you would not instruct us to do. The next document, which is approved as to its form through the resolution, is the bond purchase agreement. And that is the agreement between the district and the underwriter, which memorializes the interest rates and terms of the refunding bonds. You'll see blanks in there for the interest rates themselves, the dates on which things close, things of that nature. Those are all details that will be populated as we get into the market in January. And once we have it finalized, will be brought back and ratified and executed by district staff to basically enact this new refunding bond and replace the old previous bonds. We have that preliminary official statement. I've talked to you about that a few times, but again, we'll highlight that we're approving the form through the resolution, authorizing staff to provide updates throughout the process and to ensure its accuracy so that there are no misleading statements. SEC Rule 15C212 requires that all issuers provide a document, an official statement that is free of misleading statements and materially accurate. So we take that very, very seriously. Beyond that, there's a continuing disclosure certificate, and that is an agreement of the district with the owners of the eventual bonds that will be issued to provide periodic information updates, things such as your audit, information on tax-based growth, things of that nature. I will tell you now, you already have continuing disclosure certificates for your prior bonds. These disclosures are done for those prior bonds. This does not add any new disclosures. It simply makes these other bonds that we would be issuing subject to those disclosures going forward. And then finally, an escrow agreement that deals with the disposition of the refinance bonds, when they're paid off, how much would be paid off. And that is what U.S. Bank as paying agent and escrow agent will use as the instructions to terminate the prior debt and begin with the new debt. And so those are the documents before you. Again, all of those documents are approved via the resolution. If there are any questions about those documents, I'm happy to entertain those, but I'll go one more slide and just give you an analysis of what this refinancing looks like. Here we have a handful of columns, big table full of numbers. If you see a table full of numbers, I might be at the podium. The prior debt service is there in the column on the left. By year, that's how much is due in each given year. We show you the projected principal, coupon rate, and interest that would be charged for the proposed refunding bonds. These are all based upon rates as of the 8th of November. And you can see that we save about $50,000, $45,000 to $50,000 per year on the repayments. What does that mean per $100,000 of assessed value, which is how we talk about your tax rates? You know, you have a $30 or a $60 rather limit on your tax rates under Prop 39 per $100,000 of value. It's a little less than $1 per year per 100,000. But I would note the average single family residence in the district has an assessed value of $483,000. So over time, this would save a typical homeowner or typical home $63.25 in total. Only 13 per 100,000, but about 4 times that for each individual home. And again, will be recognized through a reduction in future tax levies. That being said, on the last page here of the analysis, right now, I would say that even in the kind of worst of cases of market deterioration, I believe that this is going to stay above the $750,000 mark in terms of total refund or total savings after refinancing, and would suggest that the district put a minimum of $750,000. If we get below that, I would like to come back to the board and talk to you before we proceed. It is my hope that the trend of rates meandering downward will take us from what's roughly 900,000 today to something over $1 million by the time that we refinance this. And of course, all those savings again are recognized by your taxpayers. That being said, there will be other opportunities to refinance other series of bonds, including the second series from your second authorization. And that occurs in 2026. So we can't do that right now. We did look at all the other bonds that are outstanding. There is one other series that could be refinanced, but the interest rates on that are so low right now, it makes no sense to add the couple of maturities that are left in that first bond series that was refinanced of the district into this. So minimum savings of $750,000, I would suggest that we put on as kind of the limit for this. If we get below that, staff and I will come back and try to figure out where markets are going and when we might get to better savings or propose something different. But at this time, I think that's a good solid minimum, and I'm very much hoping to get much above that by the time we get into January. So we've looked at everything. You have some items before you. At this point in time, I'm happy to entertain any questions about the resolution or the as to form documents that are approved thereby.
Thank you. I'll first open it to public. All right. Sue. Yep. All right, closing public comment. Juliet, any questions?
Sure.
Break.
No, thank you for that presentation. Thank you for waiting for to end. It's like good that we could save the homeowners off their tax bill and make sure that they know about it. We'll put it out there. So but yeah, that's great news. Glad we can hopefully do it.
Angela, questions?
Do you believe the market trends can really cause that big of a difference to go from 700 to possibly 9 or 1 mil in 2 months?
I do. One of the things that we're experiencing right now is volatility due to uncertainty. We've got a lot of things going on in the world. We've got some political conflicts, geopolitical conflicts, not here in the Americas, but in Europe and the Middle East that are weighing on the market. We have a new administration coming in that is not 100% clear on who will be in what cabinet positions and what their policies will be. And when there is uncertainty, people's fears tend to lean them to say, hey, I want more return to ensure against any potential unforeseen events that are occurring. So recently we have seen swings of a 0.25%, in a couple of days, one way or another. And we're talking about kind of an arbitrage thing here where we're looking at previous rates and the difference to those rates and how they would impact savings. So I do think 750 is a good floor number. It's a good savings number. I do want to get higher than that. But I can tell you that we've looked at this over a number of years, knowing it was coming up, and it's been as high as, 1.4 million dollars in savings in much lower interest rate times. So that variation can occur during those timeframes. Again, I think 750 is a solid place for good savings, and I will fight to get us above $1 million at the end of the day. And whatever the outcome is, I am committed that after we complete this in February, if we close in January, to come and provide a wrap-up presentation to let the board know how everything went out and also prepare an article for dissemination either in the superintendent's communications or in the local paper. So folks are made aware of this. I know we're looking at some facility initiatives in the future, and I think it's a great way to let people know that you're doing your fiduciary duty for the community and saving money whenever possible.
I enjoyed the presentation. I do like numbers. And then I said, thank you for willing to fight for that larger number. So
I'm going to do my darndest.
Right, Dr. Turkey, any questions?
Yeah, I just want to make a comment really, and what this is essentially. So, back in 2013, the public here in North Monterey County voted for a bond and gave us a bond, which essentially means that the community are paying for this bond, which they graciously gave to North Monterey County. And so the community is still paying for this. And what this is essentially us refinancing so that we can save the community at least $750,000, maybe more, which for the average family works out at a savings of $63 per year. And I just want to
in total per house.
In each a household.
house, yes.
Thank you, Shin. And I just want to underscore that, thank you, Shin, for bringing this to us. And I do think that it's important for the board to make sure that we are being good stewards of the community's graciousness of essentially giving the school district money, and that we will be good stewards of that money. And when we can save on the interest payments, we shall do so. Just want to underscore that point. Thank you, Shin.
Thank you. Thank you for summarizing and making it clear. And thank you for advocating for the best interest for ourselves and the community. So we appreciate that. Moving on. Next one. Are you doing the next one, the adoption of the resolution, or no?
The presentation essentially is explaining the resolution. If there
Okay.
are additional questions or commentary, I turn it
That
over.
is the follow-up for this
Okay.
presentation. Basically, he went over, you explained well the reason why we're presenting this resolution. And it is part of in this specific agenda item, I attach all the documentation that Mr. Green went over in one of the slides. The resolution is 80 pages. So. But basically we'll summarize and present it. So 80.
Oh, that little?
So it is it's a protocol pretty much for us to proceed with this and for you to approve.
Thank you, Dr. Santa Cruz. Do you mean that we don't want to read the 80 pages? Okay.
Well, you already read those.
Any
80
comments?
pages.
Any comments from the public? Zoom. All right. No, closing. And from the board? No? All right.
I'll just say, Connie, thank you for bringing this forward, and thank you for bringing forward the resolution. Really appreciate it. I know that it's work to do this, but it saves folks money, so thank you.
Yes.
Now they said that. Thank you. Like I said, Connie, for doing that, because that's one of the things I want to let the public know. That's the hard work you're doing behind the scenes to save our community money. And I just appreciate that, what you brought to the table for our district.
Okay. Yes, thank you. This is a resolution.
Move to adopt resolution.
I'll second that. I'll do a roll call. Julia, preferential vote? Aye. Rick?
Aye.
Angela?
Aye.
And I. All right. Thank you so much. And thank you for waiting at the end
No
for
problem. No problem.
and giving us a 5-minute
You
break.
guys get done actually pretty early
We're
compared to some.
almost, yes, we're almost there. Thank you. All right, board request.
I do.
Yeah.
Actually involves Julia.
Okay.
So I've actually brought this to Matt. We just been so slammed. But I want to do a board request where the student board member and a team that you choose help design us a district graduation / regalia to, before like start working at like around before it starts getting really busy for yourself in January. Basically, I was asking if you'd be willing to design us a sash for all district members to wear at your graduation coming up in June. So we wanted student input. And I'm not artsy, so I'm gonna need someone to take lead on this one. That's
Are you artsy, Julia?
I'm not creative at all, so.
Find a student, Julia.
No, yeah,
you
definitely
can lead a
get a
team,
group of
though.
people. Yeah.
But you're good at organization, as we've seen, so you can lead a team
Mhm.
to push
Definitely
forward something
team
for
fit.
all of us, including yourself, to wear our own district sash when you graduate. Because come January, it's gonna move
Mhm.
fast. Your last semester's gonna go like blink of an eye, so.
I agree. I agree. All right, Rick, any other board requests?
No.
All right, Julia, any board requests? Awesome. All right, meeting adjourned.
Okay.